right. Well, good morning and welcome to the very first 2021 1 Million Cups Columbus. We're excited to be coming back to you live after a little bit of a break there for the Christmas and New Year's. So we hope that you had a very blessed and wonderful Christmas and holiday season and a new fresh start into 2021. So where we can start off the year with positivity, look at the road ahead, and put 2020 in true hindsight, and look out what we've got ahead here in the future with 2021. Should be a great year. So, and we're excited to kick off 1 Million Cups Columbus with a guest that is had a business in the works for a little bit, but this is now launch time. So we get to hear about the build, where she's been, and what she's doing, and how she's going to launch in 2021 and get her business kicked off the ground. So excited to hear from Darrea with the Yellow Daisy. So she will be our presenter today. But before we do that, we've got some people here live on the Zoom that we'd like to give a shout out to, and a little bit of time to tell us who you are, what you're doing, and where you're tuning in from. And then we will kick it over to Darrea to hear all about the Yellow Daisy. So, George, you want to kick us off here with the first person?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Absolutely. So I'll just use my screen and I'll go around the room. And first up is Daryl. Hey, Daryl, welcome back. Good to see you, man. Hope you had a happy holiday. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit.
Thanks, George. So I'm Daryl Walton. I am a clinical fellow with the Ohio State Entrepreneurial Business Law Clinic. So we are a learning experience for third-year law students to actually help startups, entrepreneurs, nonprofits who need that base legal help, but maybe can't afford to pay for legal counsel. So again, we're part of the Ohio State, so I'm glad to be here.
Awesome, thanks, Daryl. Great advocate. Their clinic provides free legal assistance for businesses and startups. Absolute amazing resource. I've actually used their services myself. Can't speak highly enough about these guys. So thank you again, Daryl, for what you guys do and for joining us here, being part of our 1MC family. All right, moving to the right, I've got SJ, longtime attendee, master networker. SJ, go ahead and tell us about yourself a little bit.
Well, thank you so much for the very kind intro, George. Happy New Year to you and Steve and to everyone else. My name is SJ, last name is Barracconi, and I am what some might call a serial entrepreneur. And all of my ventures sit between the future of education, and it's transforming rapidly right in front of us as we speak, and the future of work, which if we allow this pandemic to have some positive ripples, we can change things in the future of work that have been vexing us for many, many generations, which is to make our organizations more human and more focused on people and not just on treating people as resources. So all of my ventures are in that space. I'm an independent consultant contractor with the SBDC. I am the founder of SBSL, which is an educational solutions provider. I help out the H7 network as their CCO. And I also am an ambassador for a couple of other startups. So a lot going on, real excited for the new year, and thank you for the opportunity to share.
Awesome. Thanks again, SJ, for being a part of the family and for all of your work engaging and connecting folks throughout 2020. Man, what a crazy year. Look forward to more of that going into 21. So glad to see you again, man, and happy to have you here. All right, next on my list is Lolo, but before I get to Lolo, she might be a little bit under the weather. I'm gonna give her a second to see if she can pop the cam on or if she's gonna unmute and say hi. And then after that, okay, she popped it off. All right, and then I'm gonna move on to Cachet. And I said it like I knew how to say it. Hopefully I had that right, but we'll move to her next right after that. So Lo, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi guys, I am a little bit under the weather, but I don't have COVID, thank God. So, but I am actually a partner of Skis at the U, and I'm really excited to hear from our presenter today. I don't know what else to say, so I'm really bad at this. I know that my name says Lauren. Today I felt like being a real professional, but I go by Lolo. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Lo. And go ahead, Kashay, tell me if I got it right. Tell me if I got it right. I'm eager to find out.
You were absolutely perfect, which rarely happens. So I'm proud, and confirms me being here. So my name's Kashay, as was pronounced correctly, and I am a first-year medical student at Ohio University, HCOM in Dublin. And I actually have just heard of 1 Million Cups, so I'm new to this. I have a friend that told me about the talk today, and so I'm interested to learn.
Well, welcome to the family. I think I know who that friend is. We really appreciate you coming out today and joining us. So you may not know a lot about the history since you just found out about us recently, but I'll go ahead and drop a little bit of nuggets, and then Steve is going to give us the big old what 1MC is all about. But I'll start off by letting you know that we are volunteer-led. We're a volunteer-led organization. We're in over 180 cities now, backed by the Kauffman Foundation. I'll stop there, talk more about the volunteers. We've got myself, George Zarevsky. We've got Mark Doyle, who's not with us today because his company is part of TechStars program right now, Honest Jobs. He's the CTO, and he's been engaged with that for the past couple of months. We're excited for him to come back and tell us a lot about that experience. And then we've got Steve Flaherty, who's our lead organizer. Without him, none of this would be happening right now. So we're truly grateful for his efforts and what he's done. But a little bit about the history for myself, and I'll also talk to Mark a little bit because we have a similar story. We both moved to Columbus in mid-2018. Being past presenters ourselves, the first thing we looked for was the local 1MC chapter. Before we got here, there was no sign that one existed. When we got here, we realized it had just started the month we moved here. So we started attending right out the gate. I came here from Alaska and Mark came from Texas. So two large states, the largest states, right? We moved here to Columbus, and knowing the 1MC ecosystem, the platform, we knew that this was the way to figure out who the other entrepreneurs in the community were, and just kind of, get into the network, get into the ecosystem. So I'm now a exited tech startup guy. Had an exit from our tech startup in December of 2018. It's also the same month I became an organizer for the local 1MC chapter here. Thanks, Steve, as well as Mark. So again, we've been kind of mirroring our path here. And now I am one of the founders of the Urban Accelerator X, which is a entrepreneur resource organization. We provide training, resources, education, engagement for entrepreneurs in the urban community. And to that end, Darrea is actually one of our students for our ongoing Winter Accelerator. We're about 6 weeks in, and I've been pressuring her and coercing her to come present and talk about her business. She's one of many from our cohort that will do so. And I really appreciate you being here, Darrea, again, kind of on short notice, but short notice from my perspective, because she's been preparing for this moment for like 2 years. So super excited to have her here and talk about the platform. But before we get to you, Darrea, we're going to let Steve give us just a little bit of history about 1MC, and then we'll get on to the presentation.
Awesome. Yeah, no, thank you, George, and thank you everybody for joining us. For those that are watching over on Facebook, if you wish to join us via Zoom, you can go to www.columbus1mc.com, and that should take you right to a Zoom link to be able to join us live here on the Zoom. But you can tune in via Facebook, and we will keep streaming over there. So, again, thank you for everybody for tuning in. As George mentioned, this is an volunteer organization. 1MC is funded and founded by the Kauffman Foundation, which is one of the largest entrepreneurial endowments out there in the country. So in 1966, Ewing Marion Kauffman, who was the founder at the Marion Drug Company, a pharmaceutical company in Kansas City, Missouri, left a $2 billion endowment and started a movement and an effort to help entrepreneurship reach all gaps, all levels. His philosophy was when everybody participates, everybody wins. So the Kauffman Foundation has been going for a number of years, over 60, almost 60 years, I guess, helping entrepreneurs get access to information, education, throwing out resources, grants, a number of things. And it was that way for a while. And then in 2012, they started this grassroots effort to reach out beyond the walls of the endowment and the Kauffman Foundation structure to really kind of stir up this localized way of giving entrepreneurs a way to share, talk, discuss, and learn from each other. And that is what created 1 Million Cups. So it started in Kansas City, Missouri. As George mentioned, we're in over 160 cities now. Brought it to Columbus in 2018. And yes, why I, applied and, brought the chapter here. It's like in a company, the team, the community is the one that makes and builds the organization. So I appreciate the kudos, but 1MC would not be what it is without George, without Mark, and without all of you. This is what it's all about, and excited to kick off 2021 with what a true 1MC presentation is, and the fact that we've got somebody that you don't have to be that person that's gone out and raised a bunch of money in venture capital or been in business for 2-3 years. You can be literally in the idea stage and say, okay, I'm kicking off and I'm just starting, and this is my first platform for launch, to get feedback, to get ideas, to have that dialogue, and to most importantly share your story, share what you're doing, tell the world what you have to offer and the value that is created from that. So very excited to kick that off. You can check us all out. There's a lot to 1 Million Cups. You can go to 1millioncups.com, get an idea. And the beautiful thing within our ecosystem is we're not just here in Columbus, we are across the nation. So you want to come here, use this as your launch zone, present here. We'll help take you all across the country and really hopefully make an awesome business, give you new entries into markets that you might not have had without the platform here. So very excited to kick it off with Darrea this year. So I'm going to shut up here and turn it over to her so we can hear all about her company, and I will turn it over to her. So again, thanks for joining us. And Darrea, the stage is yours. Welcome to 1 Million Cups Columbus. Tell us all about the Yellow Daisy.
Well, good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. Like they said, my name is Darrea Ragland, and I am the founder of Yellow Daisy. The funny story about this is that this has kind of been in the works for me for 2 years. I just have never came up with a business name until George kind of mentioned to me about this. So on Monday, I literally sat down in my thoughts and just kind of re-went over my resume and kind of re-went over everything I have typed over the past 2 years. And I developed everything that I wanted to do within an hour. So just so I can present today. So honestly, the 1 Million Cup doing this presentation today has motivated me to actually sit down and finish what I should have finished 2 years ago. So very happy about that, motivated by that. So I will share a little bit about my background. I started off in college in 2017 doing a mentoring service. So that kind of brought my attention to like working with kids. I actually started my first job at a facility, and then I kind of, honestly, my parents and my family called me a job hopper. But honestly, now looking back, it was actually good that I was a job hopper because it helped me develop my business plan. So currently I am a mental health specialist right now that works in the inner city schools. Knowing that COVID has affected kids and their learning abilities tremendously, I wanted to kind of stay in the new generation with technology and creating different learning tools for kids to have a better future. So this is why I created the Yellow Daisy. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm working on technology wise. So, just kind of bear with me just a tad bit, but let's see. There we go. Okay. Okay, we said. Oh, okay. Just gotta go back to the first slide. Okay. Ooh, okay, I did it. So the Yellow Daisy, like I said, I is established January 4th, 2021. So that's amazing. The breakdown of the name. So basically the Yellow Daisy, the reason why I came up with the name, because I also wanted the words to kind of go in hand on what I'm trying to do. So the color yellow means like happiness, positivity. It represents cheerful, energetic, and it brings fun to the world. The meaning behind Daisy, like the elements is just like it represents abundance, peace, innocent children, childhood, and the opportunities for new beginning, love, clarity, and concentration. So I just, the reason why I came up with the name is, like I said, I like things that have meaning behind it, not just words. So words that have meaning behind it. And then I feel like when I kind of break down and do my logo, that the logo would correlate to what the meaning behind my name is. So I think that's like really important to me. So the mission statement that I created with the Yellow Daisy is to help those in the community, within the community, that are affected by mental illness and serious emotional disturbance, which is behavioral health, and help them achieve their goals and shape them for a better future. The vision is molding and providing goals to change the, oh, hold on. Gotta kind of move this around. Okay. To change the lives of children and enhancing the future within the communities. The startup. So the goal that I have like established is providing day treatment for children from the ages of 18 months to 8 years of age. I feel like this is a very important, crucial age for kids because this is kind of when the behavior develops with children. So having someone kind of like step in and kind of switch that position for them can really make a big effect on how kids act after the age of 8. Because most behaviors and everything is kind of established between that range. So kind of, I like to basically say kind of starting it at the beginning so we won't have to fix the problem at the end. The objective is learning a better holistic way to replace negative behaviors with positive behaviors. I want this program to be school-based, in-home-based, and center-based. The reason why I put 2022 is because to me, that is more of a long-term goal when I think of like center-based, like creating like a day treatment center. So just so I don't overwhelm myself with saying like all this is going to happen in 2021, I'm just starting kind of slowly and saying that 2022, probably in the February, January time is kind of when I'll start developing that center-based treatment. And then we will be providing services for autism and other disabilities as well. And like I said, my rap sheet from when I first got out of school to like now, like I was a job hopper. So I have like experience, I became an RBT for like a year and then I like switched over and did something new. So I thought that having autistic services within the inner community is like really so important because we have a lot of children that are autistic and there's no services provided for them in the community or in schools. So I thought that was really important. So I did the breakdown in services. Of course, I put the star by the specialized and day treatment center because that's something that's a long-term goal. Individual and family counseling from 18 months to 17 years of age. I feel like that would be so important. And I think it's valuable to have like kids have their own session with a counselor that has set goals and a treatment plan set up for them. And then also bringing them in maybe once a week, depending on how severe the services is with family counseling. Cause I feel like, you know, I can't mold a kid if I don't mold the family as well. So having that togetherness and bringing that family together is like really important because having that support system for kids it would transform the whole kid's mindset, knowing that not only do they have support from me and other people within the community, but it starts at home as well. And another thing that I created is the child coaching for parents. Because I mean, I know they don't give a guidebook to tell you how to be like this superb, excellent parents or expert at being parents. So like I said, the saying is it takes a village to raise a kid. So I feel like having a coach to help parents understand or just help them out, providing resources or, you know, if I can have someone to help the parent with potty training, tying shoes, like you'd be very surprised at how many things I deal with at the school that kids, like their parents just need support and help with. And then I said professional training and workshops. The reason behind this is because I think a lot of inner city school teachers are very good at the knowledge that they receive on teaching, but they just do not know how to teach for certain children. And I feel like workshops where we're learning about empathy, we're learning about how to handle kids when they're in distress, understanding the difference between being overstimulated and understimulated. Like, I think those workshops and training should be included within the school system so the teachers can have like a certain ethic and not be like kind of biased towards certain kids that honestly might be facing so many problems at home that it's hard for them to focus in school. And then of course the autism and other disability services. So that would be like, the RBT, registered behavior technician. It'll be different services provided, ABA therapy within the school system and at home. And then also, I guess the main thing that makes my like organization type of company a little different is that I develop my own psychoeducational skills, my own social emotional skills. So I kind of correlate words with activities. So different activities that market the words. So just saying, if I'm working with a kid on accepting loss, I create different activities to help them identify how to accept loss with real life things and events that go on. So we're kind of doing that role playing to help kids identify if they're in a situation, what is the pros of me doing this and what's the cons of me doing this. So kind of helping them with more of a visual, more so than me yelling and talking at them. I'm actually working with them to identify it. And I say every curriculum is best fit for the children's needs and also meeting the children where they are. I think that's highly important because sometimes we like to talk at kids and not work with kids, and we sometimes overstimulate them because we're not meeting them where they are. So if I have a kid that cannot read or write, I'm not going to give them a go of journaling because they're just not there yet. So, actually kind of fit in the needs of the children. So I think that's very important. And that's the end of my presentation. I included my lovely cousin, Zion, because she is one of the reasons why I decided to do the work that I do, because she has ADHD, which I really don't think she does. She just is not stimulated enough in the classroom. So she gets bored. And when she gets bored, she does things to keep her busy. So, and I think she's highly smart and intelligent, but we don't want her to skip grade because her maturity level is not there. So every time I kind of get discouraged, she's like my motivation to keep going, because at the end of the day, like, we have to be advocates for our kids, and I'm an advocate for her. So that is the end of my lovely presentation.
Awesome. Well, bravo. For you say you threw that together, in an hour, 2 years of thought down on paper. So congratulations on the journey that you've been through and made. And then this next step here. So, the commitment to launch and to go, that's huge. So congratulations, first and foremost on that. Very, very interesting thing here with how it's shaped, how it's formed, your history. You talk about job hopping and everything. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's common practice now, the day where somebody goes and leaves college and goes and works at the job and works their way up the corporate ladder and then exits, gets a pension, and they had one job their entire career. I think those days are long and gone. So I wouldn't be discouraged by that at all. It gives you experience, gives you exposure, and all the stuff. And then now, finding entrepreneurship and going after that, you've got those different experiences to go and take to this new venture. I'm curious with the landscape of how this is. So, because I'm familiar with product market fit here. What's the current landscape look like? I mean, I know you said that it's not really addressed in the schools and everything. What competition or what stuff is there out there currently? And then how does this fit and make it the competitive advantage and the difference for a business model that's scalable?
Yes. So I actually right now, like, I'm contracted in the school system right now. So knowing the company that I work for would actually be like the competition for myself. What I know that sets me apart from the other company is not having enough resources, and not having the proper training, pay wise, and then also not actually looking at the mental health of the people that are working with the kids. And by that, I mean, just having within a company, well, you know what, let me just speak. Okay, take a deep breath. So on my past experience, like with all the companies, because like I said, my business format is literally from me starting my career base in all these different companies. And I was able to, in each company, I took out and identify what they lacked to what I wanted my company to gain. So one, in the first company that I worked for was like a treatment center type of thing. And one thing that she lacked in her company was pay. So of course we're working with these kids with all these different disabilities. And, you know, once you have a passion for it, sometimes you just settle for a certain amount. But I think at the end of the day with that, I feel like I would have stayed on the job and worked better and been more efficient with the job presented if I got paid for the services that I did. So I knew that down the road when I actually like established minds that the pay was going to correlate to what they do, because at the end of the day, mental health, you're going to get paid a lot to do the services. And I didn't want to shortcut people, because on top of them working with kids with mental health and I'm not getting paid to cover my bills, that's going to cause emotional distress on me. So at the end of the day, me working with trying to help kids, that's not going to benefit the kids. And then the next company I worked for, they didn't have a curriculum or anything kind of in place for people to work with. So you kind of just had to go off of what you thought. And if you didn't have any background working in mental health or had any college courses working in mental health, it kind of was like, I'm a fake, not a fake advocate, but I'm advocating you, but I could possibly lead you down the wrong road. And that's something that I did not want to run in with my company. So that's why I said I would create, like I created my own curriculum. So when people go in with kids, there's already like a behavior log or actually like programming that's already aligned for them to go in and do. I just need them to go in and provide the service and do it to their best abilities. Then the next company that I worked with is in school-based, and I have realized that the teachers don't have the structured training. Some kids need attention, so that one-on-one is so important. So I said adding that into like my business with providing that one-on-one ABA therapy treatment. Also like having school training for teachers, like understanding like how it is to be in a classroom with overstimulated items, like just saying that the classroom is way too crowded. And then you have kids running around screaming everywhere. How can I get my classroom under control? But that's the training that needs to be happening within the inner school system. So most of my, like, I guess my business plans are from what the cons of different companies that I saw that I wanted to bring better resources for the positive. So I think that's like kind of what my like 2-year experience was, is just kind of developing a plan that I seen the cons of this working with this company. So how can I aid that to help benefit my company?
Right. So is there a the cost structure? I mean, is this a comparable competitive advantage, you know, with alternatives, or I mean, what's the numbers look like?
The cost is really Medicaid wise, cost is really good. Especially with different, because like all like therapists, they're going to be billing, RBTs are going to be billing, I will call them QBHS, but really it's like under, you know, Medicaid form, it has to be like QBHS, what is basically like a qualified behavioral health specialist. But like my title would actually be like a child success coach, but for Medicaid reasons, that would be it. Depending on degree wise, I think it's like 3 years of medical experience. And they have different group notes, different note structures. So if I do individual notes, depending on my degree or depending on my experience, it can range between $31 an hour, or if they're not degreed, I think it goes under to where it's like $18 an hour. So it depends on like the service hours that you're giving. I know TBS groups that's something that I did back when I worked at another company, and I billed for 12 kids plus. So that's $36 for 2 hours for 12 kids. And I did that every day for 5 days out the week. So basically my salary, I made that in a month with billing notes. Because you get, I guess with Medicaid, I have identified with Medicaid is that they pay you per unit of the note, not per hour. So just saying, if I do an hour worth of notes, that's 4 units. So 4 units, I'll be getting paid $36 per kid. So the money and the resources are there, like I said, because the pay is there for sure. that's why so many companies, they're low companies, but there is so many companies that are doing this service because it's actually is a good money maker for certain people. But I just feel like the benefit is supposed to be actually helping the community and not actually trying to become not a get rich quick thing, but like kind of trying to get rich. But I feel like enrichment is not just only enriching yourself, but enriching the community that you're serving within, like not only the employees, the kids, because, you know, like it's been studies shown, like if I get paid better and you giving me my mental health days and you're, you know, doing X, Y, and Z, I'm going to do an efficient job. So I want people to do an efficient job because like I tell my kids all the time, I'm working for you to put me out of my job. Like, I don't want you to be a part of my services forever. Like, I want to do my job within the 6 months that we're supposed to, and I want you to go out and live your life. I don't want to be your clutch that you're holding on to me for years and years on. Like, I want you to put me out of my job. So, like, this is kind of like what I want to, like, my part of healing the community. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of passion that goes into this. So, my son had some different learning issues and everything, and we had put him into the same school that his sisters has gone to, for preschool and everything, and quickly that wasn't working, and so he had to go into a special ed. Now we've got up here, I live up in the Olentangy School District, so they had a program that he was admitted to there that was, and gets help from Delaware County services, and completely different track than he was on. So with just that, I think you boil it down in your presentation, just more the understanding that, hey, if you've got to watch and teach for the masses and focus on all the ones that might need a little extra, can get left behind and get, it's like, oh, well, we don't know how to handle that, because it's different behavior than the norm or whatever.
Yeah.
So I definitely see the market fit. I'm curious so I mean, you've got the it sounds like some virtual services, some in-home services, and then you mentioned a center. I mean, does this become its own school academy track that this replaces full-time school, or is it always supplemental, or what's the methodology?
I was thinking about mostly like an alternative. So what I noticed too, I don't know if this is just Columbus, because I'm from Dayton, but I realized that with charter schools here in Columbus, I feel like the kids that get kicked out of Columbus public schools, they just kind of push them all into a charter school. And the charter school has no structure, no curriculum, staff and students, staff that does not have the capability to accommodate these children. So with the day center, it would just be like an 8 to 5. And within the 8 to 5 day center is literally going to be hours helping them with transitional services. Because I know that's the big thing, is kids transitioning from one activity to the next. But it's like, to me, it's like a program that I wanted to create. And it's still kind of, like I said, it's still in developmental phase, because I know it's not going to happen until 2022. But the vision for me is doing like an 8 to 5 o'clock, having like a regular school time from like that 8 to 2 to where they're getting the school lesson, and then incorporating different psychoeducation, having their therapists on hand to where they get pulled out by need. So if they're like a kid that needs maybe 4 hours of intense severe therapy, they'll get pulled out for 4 hours out the day. 4 times out of the week, not the day, 4 times out the week. And then they come back at the end of the day to do family services, because I don't want families to think like, okay, this charter school is my last option, and then this kid gets further behind than what they are. So I feel like that day stream is like the alternative schooling, but also within the alternative schooling that is going to be providing like the services, like therapeutic services, helping them kind of frame themselves into transitioning back into the actual school system. Because I don't see many programs like that here in Columbus, to where like, the teacher in my centers, like the schools in my centers can work together with helping the kid with their behavior problems. And then, once they complete and graduate from our program, they can transition back into the school. Because I don't want kids to kind of just be like feeling unwanted, because I was like, oh, well, I got kicked out of school, so now I have to go to this school, more so than having that transitional thing. Like, okay, so they're putting me in a school right here to kind of work on myself and make myself better so I can build myself up so I can go back to school with my friends. Because I just don't want the kids to feel like, you know, putting a label over them that they're bad or they're this, Y, and Z. I'm just like, no, you're special. We just have to kind of fit your special abilities into who your personality is and kind of transition you back to where you need to go. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Steve, we've
All
got a
right.
couple questions from the
I
field
was,
here. Yeah, no,
yeah, no,
we're on the same
I wanted to
page.
open it up.
All right. I think
So yeah,
Cachet was
no, let's,
first with a question.
Hey everyone. So Darrea, that was a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. I hope I pronounced that right because I only
Yes.
heard it once. But, okay, awesome. Yeah, I love the overview of Yellow Daisy and the meaning behind it. I love that so much. I have like yellow bed sheets because of the same reason, so it's dope. But I have a question about the logistics of the teacher curriculum, the teacher and parent curriculum and training. I'm familiar with the RBT field because I have a sister that is an RBT. And from what she told me, she actually is in Indiana. And what she told me is that a lot of the times teachers will, the strategy, I should say, for the school and the teachers is just, you know, if the kids are doing something like biting, kicking, screaming, whatever, just let them do it. And I don't know if that's the same here in Columbus, but I can definitely see a need for your services and for your business, given what I've heard from her. She even told me a story about when she was pregnant and, you know, the kids, literally she had a kid that would be like trying to bite her and things like that. And their technique was just, you know, let the kid do it basically, you know, let them do whatever they want type of thing. No strategy basically. So with your services, how are you going to, what is the tangible curriculum? Like, are you going to be providing specific training and curriculum? Are you developing that curriculum, or are you kind of like outsourcing that curriculum and using that with the teachers and the parents? And also, like, what are the logistics of how long the training will take? Is it an ongoing thing, like an ongoing certification process? That's my question.
Yes. So with the curriculum developing with that, I think I'm going to personally do that with myself. But see, I also have built connections with a friend that went back to school to become a Bcba. So like with the RBT, it's like, you know, we are the ones that do the work, but it's someone that goes in above us, which is like a Bcba, and they actually kind of like map out the behavior plan for the kid within the school system in the home. And then on top of them is the Bcba. So they're like kind of above them to approve like basically approve all the treatment that goes on with that individual kid. So I want to work more so with those people to kind of develop like a curriculum and kind of develop like a format that like works, but actually it's going to probably have to be like something like where 8 months is going to have to continue kind of update, because I feel like with the climate and the time zone that we're in now, like we have to kind of stay on go mode. Like nothing is going to stay the same just because it's some fact that the world is changing so much. And with the teachers, I feel like that should be an ongoing training, because like you said, your sister said, I know I got bit, I got ate, I got smacked, all type of things, kids with autism, but that's just like that's just their way of kind of like expressing themselves when they get frustrated because they don't have words to say. So I think it's really important, like I said, with the kids even that I work with, I have kids that are probably on the autistic spectrum, but they need that one-on-one person. So like, I don't know if your sister, when she's in the school base, if she has 2 kids or she has 1, but I know when I was working, I had 1 kid that I focused on, and whatever the behavior plan that the Bcba gave me is what we worked on. So the teacher kind of would give me work that they wanted them to do, but me and that kid would have one-on-one to where I'm doing hand over hand with him while we're cutting, or we're reading a book and I'm keeping him entertained while we're reading a book so he can kind of stay within the group, like the class, like structure, I guess. But that's still, like I said, that has a lot of work to do, because it's just like the breakdown of like working with autistic kids is like, it's going to take like a whole like circle of life trip, because it's just not going to be that one person and the teachers, because also doing that behavior, like you said, the parent has to be involved as well. So it'll have to be like a sit down thing to where like we have to train the teacher, we have to train the parents, and then also kind of keep them in the loop with like what we're working on. So if I'm working on potty training with him with shapes and colors of like, okay, when I go to the restroom, I have to put my face that I went to the restroom, but I need that to go on at home too. So when he comes back to school, or he or she comes back to school, we're not starting from the beginning of learning this procedure. So that's kind of like, that's a breakdown that's going to be a little bit more into, now that I'm thinking about it, probably a 20 to 22 goal, because kind of sitting down and developing that whole game plan is going to take like some time, because I want to make sure that it's effective. And like I said, I don't want to push the kid more farther behind. I want them to kind of move gradually up to where, you know, the RBT, probably if I came 8 for a day and we're working on it, I can probably do once a week, because the kid is able to do like if the teacher tells them, okay, we're about to get ready to go to the restroom, go grab your restroom pass. Like they don't need me to come help them do that. Or if they're at home and mom has it set up to where we have like pictures to show brushing our teeth, washing our face, time for bed, time for dinner. Let me put my face to that. So like developing that curriculum within itself. But like I said, I would need definitely help from a few friends that are BCBAs, because they have a higher knowledge than me. And I know that they have to update their licensure every year. So kind of like teamwork. And so I guess I would have to outsource, but I have friends in those fields to kind of outsource with, so we can kind of sit down and kind of brainstorm together to kind of figure out what would be like effective.
Great question, Kashay. Thank you very much for asking that. And you're fine to ask more. I just wanted to real quick say, I've got the butterflies because this is the spirit of why we're doing this. This is why we're here, right? To get those probing questions that help our entrepreneur think about the things that they might not otherwise think about. So awesome response as well, Darrea. I appreciate that. Real quick though, help us out, us lay persons. Hit us up with the RBT, BCBA, BACBA acronyms. Tell us what that is, just in a few words.
Oh, okay. So RBT is like a registered behavior technician. So they're just like people that work with children with disabilities, or just honestly with kids with mental health. The BCBA is a board certified behavior analyst. So basically they are the ones that go within your home. They create the programming, they create the academic curriculum that the RBT has to do. The BACBA is basically a step higher than CBA. It's underneath the same umbrella. It's just a step higher within pay and also like decision making. So like basically, you know, you have a clinical supervisor, then you have like the workers, and then you have like, you know, it's like the three-way kind of up to the top. And the BCABA is the one that is like the one that signs all the documentation to say, okay, this is approved and I like what you're doing, and then let's rotate it down. So those are very important with like running like an autistic like center, because like I said, the RBT is only going off of a booklet that the BCBA has created for that client. So each BCBA makes like curriculum programming best suited for that kid. So they do like an analysis, see where the kid is, and then kind of just go off and make like a behavior plan for that kid. So when the RBT comes in, like we're literally going through the binder, figuring out what works with what did we work on, like kind of numbering it from a 1 to 10, like on a level of great or level of poor, and just kind of writing notes about our different sessions within the kids. So.
Awesome, thanks for that. I mean, being a prior military person, I can appreciate a good, acronym subculture. So definitely appreciate that. So we've got a question from Daryl, and then after that, we've got SJ. And if you guys have questions after that, of course, just bring them up organically. So Daryl, go ahead, please.
Hi. So, Darrea, as a lawyer, obviously my questions have come from the legal round. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about, what legal liability considerations you've considered over the next year, working with kids. Like what type of things will you have to do to be prepared to address any potential, complaints or downside lawsuits type of things from working with kids?
Major thing that I tell every company that I work for is having like a log. So any injuries, like even with autistic, like working with the autistic kids, even though I got bit, recording that. I have to record the time that it happened, what happened, what led up to it. So honestly, paperwork within this field is going to be like the major thing is having paperwork and documentation, and also communicating with parents. So just saying, because I don't like doing restraints, but a company that I work for, we had to restrain kids. So when we restrain kids, we had to go online, type in like the note of like what happened to the, like, what was this treatment that was like, what was the service that was offered? What happened prior to that? What happened during? And what happened afterwards? So kind of having that breakdown of like a behavior log, recording, and making sure that also time frames, times that events happen. So if a fight happened and I'm de-escalating the fight and I'm like removing the kid at the situation, but the kid ends up hitting the other kid or hitting me, I have to make sure like I record that, because that's like basically I'm held liable because I was present. Or if you know, I always tell people, when you touch a kid, it's considered restraint, regardless if I'm separating you or kind of pushing you off. That's a restraint because I'm touching you. So when I touch you, I have to do an incident report saying what I did, because if you go home and maybe I have long nails, which I do sometimes, and I end up accidentally scratching you because I'm removing you, and you go home to your mom and your mom's like, well, why does my kid have this scratch on his arm? Da, da, da. Like, oh, well, here's the incident report. I sent this home with you. I just need you to sign this. It just, to me, it's like always covering your ground. So with everything you do, you always have to have paperwork, a paper trail to make sure you're covering yourself. So within legal services, I know just having paperwork and paper trail to cover you. And I know within a day center, cameras are highly important too, because, you know, the kid is always right. So having, even though if I recorded down and having like the, you know, the audio and video evidence that backs up what I wrote down on this sheet of paper is highly important too. Because at the end of the day, if a kid says that you touch them, the kid is always right. So we just have to make sure we cover all grounds with documentation, holding records of events that happen, and times. Like I always tell people, write the time down. If you have everybody, we're so technology based, you got a time, probably got your Apple Watch, you probably have your phone on you when it's happening. So having a time record saying like, okay, during this time, this happened and X, Y, and Z, and just make sure we document, record it, and make copies, because for some reason, everybody always loses the first copy. So I always make like 4 copies of stuff, because I just, you know, I had so many documents that they'd be like, oh, I lost it. How did you lose it? I directly gave it to you, but it's okay because I got copies. So yeah.
Thank you.
So we've got hashtag SJ Superconnector. It's got some questions for you. This guy in chat has already told me about 10 connections that he thinks would be great for you. So we'll make sure that that happens after the fact. But SJ, I think you had a question as well. You could go ahead.
I do. Well, first of all, thank you so much for sharing with us, because it does take a little bit of courage to talk in front of people that you may not know. But the thing that I'm sure George and Steve would attest to is this is a community that wants to serve and help, rather than de-edify you and bring you down and say, well, that doesn't make sense and this is terrible. You're not going to get that here. So good for you. 2 things I had in the chat box. First is not really a question. I gave a link that buttresses your choice of the yellow. You may have come upon that in your own research, but it's a really neat link that I found about a year ago, and I just redug it up. So kudos to you on the choice of yellow. That's right on point for what you're looking for.
Yes.
Okay. And then the actual question is, are you personally aware of learning/pandemic pods, micro schools, or 508 schools? These are lots of innovations that are arising due to COVID that are going to be serving our youth far better than the 125-year-old default system that has been around since 1893. I just wanted to see if you were aware of those. If not, then you and I probably should have a conversation, because I can definitely help you.
Definitely need to have a conversation about that, because, you know, haven't heard too much about that, but also I haven't actually researched into that as well, kind of going into that whole virtual learning thing, because I know it's becoming very popular. I just get nervous with that, because I feel like the kids are like, I don't know about I'm still a kid myself, because I call myself a big kid. That's how I work with kids. But I know that I thrive off of being like human connection with people. So like if I have high energy and the person next to me has high energy, I'm just like, oh, okay, So like virtually, I'm just really trying to adapt to it, because this is actually me adapting to this right now, having the high energy that I would have if we were doing this in person. So yeah, I'm really interested, and I would love to learn more about that.
All right, well, let's definitely connect. And to George's point, that's one of the reasons why I've been a regular in this community. Is if this would have existed in Columbus when I got my first business, SBSL, off the ground, I probably would have been further along. But community-based entities like this, either A, I wasn't aware of them, or B, they didn't exist. So we've come a long way in the last nine plus years, and kudos to these gentlemen, along with Mark, who's not with us, for bringing it to Columbus. And thank you again for presenting. So let's make sure we connect, okay?
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
And just to be clear,
You
Mark's
bet.
not dead. He's with Techstars, because you know that. Not with this
Yeah,
phrase.
that's true.
In the year of COVID.
He's still very much alive. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
It's just he's not with us presently on this Zoom. Yes.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right. So one of our more critical attendees has posted a question in the chat. This is from Lolo, or Lauren. I guess she's going by her government today. First, she said, "This is great, Darrea," with an exclamation mark. So like that's a statement. And then she asks, she's wondering about the scalability of this program to other states. So growing this outside of Ohio.
Ooh, I was actually looking at that too. So the scalability, the only place that I have looked, honestly, out of the state is I haven't even looked that far. I know I was going to start up in here in Columbus just to kind of get my feet wet. And then I was going to take it to areas that I know that are like in need of like these type of services, just from like communicating from people that I used to go to school with in college. Like we all kind of have separated and spread it out. Yeah, the only one I have in mind so far, like the 3 areas I was gonna, like after I did it here, I was gonna try to go to Toledo. Toledo is, well, I graduated from Toledo, and Toledo, one of my friends told me that is well needed in Toledo for the simple fact is that they don't have like a breakup like how we do like elementary, middle school, and high school. They literally just have basically 1st through 12th grade all in one. So, and she was just saying like how many jobs are moving out of Toledo, which is causing like devastation. So, I think like, I don't know, I think more so that I'm just kind of looking at where the services are like really needed in the Ohio area. And then I know like if I branch out of state, there's going to be different certifications and requirements that are going to be needed. So I might need like, I think it's called like a C, I don't know, it's different accreditation by state. So I know I would have to go through different programming if I went to Texas or if I went down to Florida. It would be different like accredited sources that I would have to kind of pay into to actually kind of like establish like my business out in there. But I mean, I know that I can. It's just that right now I'm in like the startup phase. So like kind of paying out more than I'm receiving. It's just kind of like.
Sure. Yeah. So that's the long game. That's long
Yes,
term.
definitely.
I know it's.
I'm telling you, 2022 is going to be popping. Okay. It's going to be popping because it's just like everything is going to kind of, work into fruition. But yeah, I think.
It sounds like it's kind of like legal where you have, one thing I learned the hard way, not living in the United States for a while and coming back a few years ago, entering the school system in Alaska and then coming to the lower 48, realizing that it was a completely different process. And so every state is different, right? Same with legal and these other things. So immediately I'm thinking about now you have to have staff, you have to have people that are smart and certified in each of these regions. So that's definitely way more engaged. But, you started off with saying you worked in these different organizations and identified gaps in the system. And you know that you have the capacity to fill those gaps. So that passion, that spirit, regardless of what your actual business is, the entrepreneur is what people buy into, not so much what it is that they're building or selling. And you have that. And so again, kudos to you. I'm absolutely blown away by your presentation and your capacity. So thank you so much for that. Really engaging conversation. I think this is one of the more engaged Q&A sessions that we've had. So that's awesome. If folks want to get a hold of you to talk after, how will they do that? If you could post that in the chat as well.
Yeah.
And then we're also going to ask you a final question that we ask all of our presenters, and that is, what can we as a community do to help you start, in this case, and then grow your business? So I'll give you a second. You go ahead and type
Let me
type
that
in your your email address, any hashtags or anything like that, and then I will mirror that on Facebook for the folks we have out here. And that way, because there's a couple comments there too, but that way folks can reach out to you directly and engage.
And it's funny because my phone number has been the same since elementary. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there too. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so what can we do as a community? And it's not just the people in this room, but the people that will see this, you know, in perpetuity, forever and ever on the interwebs, where it will forever live and never be erased.
I definitely, this is really great as support wise. Cause I know with me, I'm like the only child. So, and you know, sometimes my creativity and my brain is not like the average kid, like, or the average person would kind of think, cause I just go wherever I feel like. I'm just that type of person. And I really think this, like, talking to you guys was very motivating to me to keep going, because it was a point last year to where I was really to the point of like actually giving up. So I think what would help me like further my business is, honestly, I love support. I love hearing feedback. Honestly, time is more than money could compare to me. So like you guys taking time this morning to actually just sit down and talk with me, ask me questions, kind of pick my brain of questions that have never been asked. I appreciate that more than anything. So I like check-ins to kind of see how everything's going. So maybe like in like a couple months, you know, post-pandemic, like, you know, going more into this, we could do like a check-in, and that would make me smile, make me happy. I just literally think like the community full of support, because everybody always asks for money. And I feel like money is not the key to happiness. I really think that the key to helping someone like emotionally, physically, is literally just talking to them and just giving them that feeling that there's someone out there for me and rooting for me. And that to me is more than enough for me, because I tell you, it's little things for me. So this right here is the whole month of January for me. So I just got to figure out what I'm gonna do in February. So, but this right here is just like the support system that I definitely love and need. And just moving forward, that's something that you guys all as a whole can like just provide for me. It's just like, hey, Darrea, I'm just doing a check-in. I'm like, oh my God, they actually care about me. Let me email them back. That makes me excited. So yeah, I think that's like the support I look at. And then also if you guys have any resources, or if we can just reconnect and kind of see like where I'm at, or where can you guys kind of link me up with the resources, because I like communicating. So I rather you tell me, oh, this person, I want you to meet and talk to him, and then I, you know, go out and reach out, because that's pushing me to step out of my comfort zone. I like being pushed to step out of my comfort zone, because when I get too comfortable, I go to sleep, and I don't like going to sleep. So that's why I moved to Columbus, because I'm like, I'm too comfortable in Dayton. I'm falling asleep too much. So let me push myself and move somewhere where I don't know anybody. And now I developed a whole like network to where I can communicate with everyone, and I love that.
Absolutely. You are part of a network, and I can promise you that in 6 months, only because that's our requirement for minimum gap for engagement for 1MC, 6 months, we're going to have you back on to talk about what you've done, how far you've come, and the way forward. And then, of course, from my U hat, I will definitely be staying engaged with you as we go along this journey. So awesome, super exciting. We're going to go ahead and let Steve wrap it up, but thank you again so much, Darrea, for your time, and for all of our attendees. We hope to see you all again and again and again. Steve.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And yes, you definitely have a home here at 1MC within the network, and it's not, you know, one and done. You know, this is, you know, now the creation of a relationship. And so one thing that I want to do that kind of up it here, new year, new strategies, new insights and everything. I don't know if any of you all have been on Clubhouse, but Clubhouse is growing in, I mean, they've exponentially grown over the last 3 weeks and everything. I've been watching it a while and everything. Got on through different people, and then finally I'm like, all right, I'll join the mess and everything. I've spent too many hours. I mean, I went on a marathon session the other night and left one at 4 a.m., got on another one at 5, and got on another at 6. And, you know, I'm talking from the night before, started at like 6 p.m. the night before. So like I didn't sleep and just went through. But one of my many hats is at the Delaware Entrepreneurship Center at Ohio Wesleyan University. And so I'm an advisor there. The center helped the businesses and the resources there. And I know George has done an amazing job with his program down at the U, and will continue to help you with that. But I know we got SJ in the room who's in the learning space and education space. And so I think I can speak for him a little bit, but what I'll do is invite you up to the Entrepreneurship Center at Delaware. We can do it virtually if you want, or we can do it in person in a socially distanced conference room there. And I will give you a couple hours of advisor time that normally is reserved for our members and stuff, just to help formulate through the business model. We'll pull in SJ if he's available. We'll pull in some other people and kind of have a strategy session and really help lay out a plan for 2021 and phase, you know, and look at that good, better, best strategy and go from there. So let's plan that. You know, it's all about helping entrepreneurs and everything. There's plenty of people in this network, you know, that I'm sure can offer advice and help and can reach out. But let's kick it off with an awesome thing, and then let, you know, George at the U and everything help. We've got a good partnership that we're trying to establish there between the Entrepreneurship Center and the U and everything. So it's all about the ecosystem and you know, pushing and accelerating forward. So let's do that. So
yay, wait, awesome. Thank you, Steve. Get my Swiss beats going. That's awesome.
So, and then, yeah, I know we ran a little bit over, but no, this is awesome to see you launch, and let's keep that momentum moving forward, both, you know, here locally and then as a community at large. And a couple of questions in from the chat and everything was, you know, how often we do these. These are every week. So every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern time, we are meeting here right now. It's virtually. When we get back to a in-person world, we will do so. But right now it's virtually every Wednesday, 9 a.m. You can tune in here. Join us at Columbus, the number 1 MC.com. You can register every week. It's not about the presenter of who's coming in. It's about the community and the stuff that can happen. And then, you know, we hope, you know, Darrea, that you'll join us, you know, in future and, you know, be able to pass on wisdom to the other entrepreneurs that come in and share the platform. So this it happens all across the country. You can tune in right now virtually. I mean, you can hit, you know, a lot of different communities across the country and see what's happening out in Kansas City, happening out in Sacramento, and down in Florida. They got a lot of communities that are virtual. So, but yeah, every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern for the 1 Million Cups Columbus. So here's to a wonderful kickstart to the new year, 2021. Lead it with momentum. You know, I had said last year at the opening one in 2020 that this was the year of vision, the year of focus, and how you know, kind of perfect that 2020, you know, didn't turn into what anybody, I don't think, you know, could have perceived. But it did. It allowed us to focus on the core things, the things that truly matter, get a better focus on what the work environment looks like, what education looks like, what life, you know, in general looks like. I mean, so for me, I was meeting with some advisors and staff last week. I said 2021 is the year of balance. So we learned focus in 2020. This is the year of balance. Let's balance 2021 of what truly matters and what life should be like. You know, I mean, if you press a little pause, reset, we don't get that in life too often. 2020 kind of gave us that opportunity. So let's take that forward and make this the year of balance. So So I'll get off my soapbox. So, but yeah, very much enjoy everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you, Darrea, for a wonderful presentation. Here's to an awesome kickstart of your new venture. You know, I wish you much success, and I think you got a good thing that is going to grow here. So, but join us next week, 9 a.m. right here live on Facebook, or go to columbus1mc.com to register and join us live on the Zoom, where you can ask the questions right to the entrepreneur themselves. So everybody have a wonderful week, and here's to 2021.
All right. Thanks again, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks,
you.
everyone.